Good fortune, people of the internet. Welcome to the third to last annual Mob Psycho 100 survey results. All hail Lord Psycho Helmet. Anyway, this is going to be audio-visual format in case you don't have a Google Drive or access to the text format. The link will be in the description to that if you don't want to listen. Although I'm just going to be reading off the answers real quick for you to hear, and also after the end of going through the answers real quick, I'm also going to be providing analysis and commentary, some interesting features that came up, and also some faults that I've realized are in this survey that were brought to me, as well as some interesting ideas that came up out of this that might be put into next year's survey. Alright then, let's get right into it. Why not? 148 people total participated in this survey, which is rather nice, even though over 1,000 people are part of the subreddit, but what are you going to do? Anyway, and that's interesting because only 137 people correctly answered the question at the top that's meant to say whether or not you're a robot, which is 92% of the total 148 people that then continue to fill out questions. It doesn't seem like there's a spam bot, but it's still interesting. The people who did not get the correct answer, 6 of them seemed to write it correctly, but were still deemed, the answer was still deemed incorrect by Google for some reason, which is why I tried to make it so clear that the answer was Mob Psycho 100, just written exactly the way that the title is written. Oh well. 4 people wrote the entire title of the survey. I thought that that might be a confusion, which is why I made the hint for if you get the answer wrong, the answer to the question. And one person actually asked me if this was a joke question as the answer to the question. Very funny. I'm glad that you were able to still take the quiz despite getting that question wrong. Alright, moving on to the analytics portion, which I really don't understand why people ask, but I put it in anyway. Alright then, the majority of people who read the series say that it is important. Oh, I should probably tell you the question first if you didn't take the survey. Not everybody watching this video took it, I'm guessing. The question is, do you think that gender is important? And then some of the answers are, yes, I am a male, yes, I am female, yes, other, no, or I don't know, sort of. Number one answer, yes, I am male. Out of 148 people, 37.2% people said that they were male and that they thought it was important. Second biggest answer, no. I don't think gender is important. Let's see. Back on the people that think that gender is important, 16.9% people who think gender is important on the subreddit are female, and 1.4% are something else. That's a very broad category, so I won't go into detail of what that something else could possibly be. Welcome. Alright then. On the no side, 31.1% said no, and 13.5% said that they're not entirely sure, or sort of. I understand that the question's broad, so it's important to have this answer in there. I don't want to make any of the questions particularly unfair. Alright then, if you put those two answers together, even though they don't necessarily go together, that comes out to be 44%, which is still less than 50%. So the majority of people do think that gender is important. Alright, moving on. The next question, this is, in retrospect, a very flawed question on my part. Continuing on the analytics, only 147 people answered, so I already lost somebody here. Do you think that age is important? Let's see. One person, 0.7%, said that they are between the ages of 8 and 14. 27.9% said they are between the ages of 15 and 19. 29.3% said they are between the ages of 19 and 24, and that is the majority age. Most people reading Mob Psycho and answering the survey are between the ages of 19 and 24. It was worded very clearly in the question so that this is accurate. 9.5% of people are between 25 and 31, 2% between 32 and 45 years of age, and 0.7% are 45 and older. All right, now that's not the only part of the question, though. It was, do you think age is important? 18.4% said no. Still less than the amount of people who said yes and are at least 15 years old. And 11.6% said it depends on a variety of factors. Once again, the answer no and the answer depends do not necessarily go together. But if you put them together, then you get exactly 30%, which would put them in the majority over the 19 to 24-year-olds who think that age is important. I'm not going to go into why I think that was a flawed question on my part, since, once again, I'm just trying to get you the answers as fast as possible in this first portion of the results. Oh, also, before we go any further, if you're interested in this mask of mine, which I'm wearing because I don't show my face in any of my videos, it's based off of Lord Psycho Helmet, and it is one of a few that I designed. They are all printed in black and white. They're actually designed in color. They're in a variety of hues of green, actually. And there's a link to them in the description where you can print them out. I had to make a whole bunch of weird cuts with this one in order to use it like a mask like this. If you just wanted to wear it around the house, then I'm sure that you could just pull it off to the side when you wanted to talk. Alright. 147 people answered the next question as well, which is, how often do you visit the subreddit? Interestingly, 8 people, an entire 8 people, 5.4%, said this was their first time visiting the subreddit, and you decided to take my survey. Thank you very much. I know you asked me to be gentle in your answers. I hope that it was gentle enough ride for you. Let's see. Moving on, 13.6% visit once a day or more. You can probably guess that I fit into that group. Please don't judge. Oh, I know you are. Anyway, 24.5% visit twice a week. 25.2% visit once a week. This is the majority, and it's probably only going to continue to grow because of a trend that's starting on the Reddit known as Mob Friday. I'm not sure why they chose Mob Friday instead of Mob Monday, because of the alliteration there. Yeah, I think that's the word. You know what I'm talking about, but probably a scheduling thing. Looking forward to participating in that in the future. Anyway, 13.6 said twice a month, 7.5 said once a month, 6.1% every couple of months, and 4.1% only visit the subreddit less than twice a month. Holding out for that Season 2 announcement. Okay then. Now, next question, all 148 people answered, and it was, what got you started on the series? Was it the anime or the manga? The two, oh no, which is your favorite version of the series? And another big surprise, because I know how popular the anime is. It's the only one that has merch in the United States. 52% of people said that they prefer the manga over the anime. Also, there was musical stage play, which I'm sure that some people got a hold of somehow, and the live-action version, which has yet to be translated, but is viewable in some capacity. Nobody chose those as their favorite. I've yet to decide my feelings on the live-action myself, but moving on. And of course, if 52% said they preferred the manga, that means that 48% prefer the anime. Next question. 146 people answered. 71.2% said that they started with the anime, while 28.8% said that they started with the manga. Alright. Next question, which is, which version of the series are you not following currently? Only 83 people answered this question, which means that if all 148 people wanted to answer this question, flaw, I should have put a I'm following everything option in here. Anyway, wanted to answer this question, that means that 65 people are hopefully enjoying all versions of Mob Psycho 100. 7 people are not enjoying the manga, 5 people are not enjoying the anime, and 77 people are not giving the live action a shot or dropped it after a couple of episodes. I hope that they get back into it. Best of luck to them. Alright then. 148 people answered the next one. Let's see. I actually forget what this question is. I will look that up and get back to you shortly. But I'm just going to move on to the next page for now. Oh, where does Mob Psycho rank for your favorite series? 4.1% refused to answer the question, because having a favorites list can be restrictive, and I respect that. Please live your life however you like. Of course, barring hurting others. Anyway, 29.1% say that it's in their top 5. This is going to be in order from the most to least most popular answer. 26.4% say that it is their number 1 favorite series. 14.2% say that it is their second favorite series. So I'd say that that's pretty good up there. 9.5 say that it's in their top 10. 6.1 top 20. 5.4 top 7. 3.4 is their third favorite series, and 2% of people have it somewhere in their top 50, broadly speaking. I'm not sure if they actually keep track of that, but if they had to guess. All right, next question. 147 people answered it, and it's whether you prefer the sub or the dub. Really amazing. Didn't expect this at all. Sub won by a landslide. I thought it would be way more evenly matched. 38.8% of people said that they prefer the sub, no questions asked. 31.3% said that they like the sub, but only by a little or just by enough. 4.1 people said that they generally prefer subs. And on the dub side, altogether, only 25% of people prefer dubs. And that's even including the people who say that they're evenly matched, and the people who say that they didn't see the anime, but they just generally prefer dubs. Next question. I'm going to be saying the names of arcs in this question, which somebody told me they consider spoilers. If so, I don't know how else. Oh, I know, I'll put a timestamp in the description. In which case, if you don't want to listen to this section, you can just go ahead and click the timestamp, and you'll have skipped this spoiler. Alright then. The top 5 most popular arcs are the number 1, the Mogami arc, Keiji Mogami arc. Number 2, the Claw arc, not to be confused with the Branch 7 arc. Number 3, Arc 100, the final arc. And then tied for last place are the Holy Tree arc and Teruki Hanazawa's introduction arc. When it comes to second favorite series, number 1 for second favorite is the Holy Tree arc. Then Arc 100, the Keiji Mogami arc, the Claw arc, and not tied, this time it's clear-cut that Teruki Hanazawa's arc is the least popular of the most popular arcs. Also, using this list, we can't tell which is the least favorite, but we can also tell which arcs people are the most apathetic about. A bit of a shame because it's my personal favorite arc, I think. The pre-Mogami arc is the arc that people are the most apathetic about. The Big Cleanup, they are the second most apathetic. Branch 7, third most apathetic. Introductory arc, fourth most apathetic. That includes the LOL arc, in case you're wondering. And the Alien arc is the fifth most apathetic. Also, the Pre-Mogami and Big Cleanup arc are tied for first, and Branch 7 and Introductory are tied for second. But I only did top 5. Second, for the second most apathetic, Pre-Mogami once again came out on top as most apathetic, followed by the Alien arc. Then, this time, not tied, Big Cleanup arc is more people feel apathetic about it than the Introductory arc. And finally, the Branch 7 arc at the very bottom. Question 140, question 140. The next question, everybody answered, thank gosh. This data in particular I'm going to be sending to Crunchyroll because it's about merchandise and what we want. Probably I should have asked us a few people about what else could be included in this section. This really isn't good, it's just the only shirt that I happen to have that's Mob Psycho related. Most of the stuff that I really like I have to make myself. Anyway, of course, number one thing that we really want to be localized in the United States is the manga. Oh, that's something actually important to bring up. I didn't ask what nationalities people have here, and that's actually something that's interesting to find out, because I just assume that the majority of people here are United Statesian, but in fact that's one of the few countries that English is one of the few languages that does not have translation for the manga, so probably stands to reason there are a lot more countries involved in this fan base than it's a lot more spread than a lot of other fan bases. In that case, my apologies, that will be fixed in next year's survey. Anyway, manga. Landslide, of course. Everybody wants the manga. We need the manga here. Crunchyroll, please. With 72.3, it's the thing that we want the most. Tied for second place are the mysterious Salt Shaker that appeared for a limited time on Crunchyroll's store before they removed it. Reagan-themed Salt Shaker, that is. And manga-themed t-shirts, which they have a lot of on the Ura Sunday store, but are very hard to import. I don't know how it would be done. Fourth place, other manga-themed goods, you know, mugs, handbags, watches, whatever those things are called, lanyards. And fifth place, the soundtrack, which is pretty easy to get imported through Amazon. It's just not localized, so you can't read most of the liner notes, and some of them come with a DVD, which you can't use on most DVD players. Anyway, then for the second most, the thing that we want imported the second most. There we go. The manga still, only this time it's at 22.6%. I knew that the manga was going to win before, so this is to diversify the answers. This time, clear delineation. Manga t-shirts are wanted more than manga-themed goods. Then below that is the Reagan-themed movie, clip show with 15% new content, and then mostly original content that's been heavily edited. And then lastly, the OST. Once again, only this time it's tied. It's tied with the Reagan movie. Oh, and by the way, when something's tied, I mean that the exact same number of people voted for it each time. Next question. All 148 people voted. I really should have written down the questions to make this clearer, and since I don't know how to edit, I can't pause the video and check these sorts of things out. The question was, oh yes, do you prefer Mob Psycho 100 to its popular older brother, One Punch Man? There are 2 people who answered that they don't know what One Punch Man is. And so in that case, instead of waiting to the end of the video for that, I'll just say now. It's, like I just said before, another manga series, and anime series for that matter, by the same creator of Mob Psycho 100, and it is, generally speaking, more popular than Mob Psycho 100. The results here don't really speak to that. I wanted to post this survey on the One Punch Man Reddit as well, but I didn't think that would be entirely appropriate. Anyway, like the title suggests, it's far less cryptic than Mob Psycho 100's title. It's about a superhero who can defeat things with one punch. It gets a lot more complicated than that, but basic level. Moving on. 54.7% said, yes, I enjoy it more. 14.9% said, no, I do not. And 12.2% said, it's complicated. Please do explain your thoughts. I love hearing complicated things. I know that maybe it's that they're trying to be different things, and I'm sorry, getting off track, but I love generating discussion. It's all about the discussion, sharing ideas. Wouldn't have this survey if there wasn't trying to get new information. Anyway, also 16.9% said that they're more or less the same in terms of personal enjoyment. Because that's another part of this. This wasn't about, do you think that one is better? Do you think that Mob was better animated? Do you think that One Punch Man was better written? Do you think that one is better drawn? Do you think that one has a better fan base, better music, etc., etc.? No, it's not about better. This is about which one you enjoy personally, personal enjoyment. Therefore, I thought that the complicated answer wouldn't be as utilized, but I included it just in case. Anyway, the next answer, it's a bit more complicated answer and very divisive, which was, if you had to pick one element from the series to be taken away, if you had to pick, which one would it be? All of the questions here on the survey were skippable, and a lot of people chose to skip this, but for the 123 people who decided to answer, thank you very much. Alright then. It seems like 30.9% of people would, if they had to remove something, they would remove the non-Reagan-based comedy. Of course, every element of Mob Psycho 100 is important in making it a great series. The non-Reagan-based comedy, even if it is something the thing that people would chop off if they had to cut off one limb. In an analogy, if they had to cut on one limb, it would be the non-Reagan-based comedy. I'm getting off track. Get back to the results. My apologies. Anyway, 18.7% said that they would lose the interpersonal and relationship drama between Mob and Reagan, perhaps, Misato to Mob, Mob to Spomi, etc., etc. 17.1% said that they'd lose the existential drama, a lot of which happens with Dimple. Excusez-moi. And a lot of which happens with Reagan. And of course, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on during the big cleanup arc. 13.8 said that they would lose the coming of age and identity dilemmas. It makes sense that that's towards the bottom because really that's the kind of the core of the series. And then the thing that people just said that they'd want to lose the least is the combat, which actually interests me a little, because even though one has gotten a lot better at it in the paneling and everything, he's not the most well known for his ability to draw. Even if his shading is leagues ahead and his paneling is great, still a lot of other things don't work well. And the combat is always a means to an end. At least it seems so for me, but hey, the majority has spoken. The minority is weak for a reason. And if I'm in the minority, so be it. Alright, question 146. This was a question that was based around a spoiler. If you want to know what the spoiler was, it was, you can, once again, look at the text document. But I will not be repeating it here for those who are just listening in. It's an issue. Next year, though, it's not going to be a problem. Although, next year, rather than including it in the survey, I think that it would be better to just move on and take this data and put it into a discussion thread about this topic. Anyway, 1.4% of people, or only 2 people, said that it was terrible, a 1 or a 2. 5.5% of people in total picked less than 5 and answered less than 5. 13% of people picked 5, the okay answer. The majority of people picked 22.6 people picked 8. And other than that, 8.9% picked 6, 17.8% picked 7, 14.4% picked 10, and 19.8% picked 9. Oh, good. We're all set with this page now. Still need to look up what that question is. I suppose I'll do it at the end. Ah, here we go. Oh, all right then. This is where I started to lose a lot of people. This was about who you think is best boy, but not counting the main characters. So people like Mob, Reagan, Ritsu, they were moved separately from this category, just to put some other people in the spotlight. Only 138 people answered this question. Thank you very much for taking the time to do that. Number 1, Serizawa. I really wasn't expecting that. Number 2, Onigawara. That's more in line with what I was expected. He wasn't even invited to the party at the end. Sheesh. Anyway, 12.3% said Goda Musashi, and 10.9% Sho Suzuki. 8.7 Sagawa Jun. He's a member of the Body Improvement Club. That 8.7%, that applies to all members of the Body Improvement Club other than Goda, Onigawara, and Mob. And finally, 17.2% chose Takanaka Momozo. I really can't describe who these people are without spoilers, but good for them. They rose to the top, the highest that a non-main character can possibly rise, the kings of the side characters. If you really want to call Sho a side character, that's debatable, but considering that he didn't even come in first place here to Serizawa, that's saying something. Anyway, next question, all but one person answered. Makes sense, it's about the main characters. Also something surprising. Mob 1, this was about best boy, main characters only. Mob 1 with 46.2% of the votes overall. I knew that it would be a bit hard to choose between Mob and Reagan, or Mob in your second choice, or Reagan in your second choice. So for both Mob and Reagan, I included a it's Mob, but it was a really tough choice answer to make it a bit easier to go with the flow. Anyway, 27.2% chose Mob, clear cut, and 19% said Mob, but the choice was hard, for a total of 46.2%. That math doesn't look right. I will double check that. Actually, I'm not going to double check that because it's late. Please double check me. Anyway, Reagan clear cut, people said 22.4% Reagan is the best boy, and 14.3% said Reagan is the best boy, I think, for a total of 36.7%. Below that, Taruki at Hanazawa, if you know him by that name, 8.2%. Lord Dimple at 5.4%. And last but not least, Ritsu at 3.4%. Next question. This was really important because there are just not too many female characters in Mob Psycho 100. In fact, in one series in general. I guess since one himself is a male, it might be that he's not very familiar with female attributes writing female characters, but people aren't really that different across gender gaps, but whatever. Anyway, of the 20 female characters that there were to pick from, female side characters, Emmy came in first place as best girl with 19.4% of the votes. Below her, Tsuchiya, 13.4. Beneath that, the Alien Princess at 11.9. Beneath her, Kurosaki Rei at 11.2. And then here, there might have been a bit of a mix-up. One of the tough girls from St. Haiso Academy got 6th place with 10.4%, but I'm pretty sure that people were confusing them with the main characters from that arc, that side story, which is actually part of the Primogami arc, which is where Mob and Reagan cross-dress to enter the girls' high school, St. Haiso Academy. Anyway, with Mari and Chihiro, which are the clients. Mari and Chihiro only got 1.5% of the vote here. But if they were confused with the unnamed tough girls from the roof of St. Haiso, then they would be in 6th place. In fact, they might even be in 5th place. Yeah, they would be. They would be in 5th place if they were added together. And you see how this is terrible? I was picking at the very bottom of the barrel to get as much female representation as possible in here. I even had to use Taruki's mother. She appeared in a single panel of his flashback. It's a tragic story and something you missed out on if you've only seen the anime. They're not going to touch it in the future, so you don't need to worry about spoilers. He ran away from home when he was a kid. He's been relying solely on his psychic powers, and he hasn't seen his mother in years. And all of this gone over in a single page. You only see his mother for one panel. I put Mrs. Hanazawa in here. I had to go that low, bottom of the barrel. She was there for one panel, and all she was doing was contributing to Taruki's character. 20 characters. Moving on. 142 people for Best Girl. Of course, you know who won Best Girl. It was Dimple. Just kidding. It was Tome Kurata, followed by, with the whopping 56.3% of the vote, followed by Tsubome Takane with 24.6% of the vote. And last but not least, Zato Ichi. In case you forgot who that was the girl who allies herself with the Psycho Helmet cult, who is part of the journalism club in Mob School, who plays such a little role in the overall story that, in fact, in the live-action version, all of the things that she does, she's swallowed up into Tome's character. Live-action version does make a few mistakes, but they've done a lot of good things too. And giving Tome a lot more importance, as well as Tsubome, giving her a lot more role in the front, I think very good choice on that. Alright. Moving on. Next question. Only 114 people answered. People were getting a bit tired of having to go through all of these hard to remember characters, I think. Was about husbando slash waifu. I combined them into one section since I only included people who are 18 and older, because you literally cannot have someone as a waifu or husbando unless they can be your waifu or husbando. You know, I got criticism from one of the people in the bottom for not using people who are younger, and no, it's not discrimination, it's just the law. Apparently, in Japan, which makes a bit of sense, 16-year-old females can marry with their parents, with both parents' permission. So I guess I might be able to squeeze a few more people in, but I don't think too many. Anyway, number 1 husbando, the ladies' man, Lord Dinbo, at 44.7%. Beneath that, once again, I didn't know he was this popular, 18.4%, Serizawa Katsuya. Underneath him, 7%, Tsuchiya. Really blowing my mind. I didn't think she was that popular. 4.4% beneath that, Keiji Mogami. And underneath him, at 3.5%, Minagishi Tokishi. Can't talk about him without spoilers. Something you might have noticed there, Reagan was missing from that question. Yes, Reagan was omitted from that question because he would obviously win. And I wanted to diversify the votes to get a real tap on the community, which is what this is about, getting a feeling for the community. Alright, next question, 130 people answered, as opposed to the previous questions, 114. If Reagan was a possible answer on the previous question, would you have chosen him? 72.3 people said, of course I would have. Only 27.7% of people said no. So yes, Reagan is number 1 husbando. We knew it all from the start. We can move on. But at least now we know that Lord Dimple would be second, maybe Serizawa. Alright, you're gonna love this one. 143. Joke question. Anyway, 59.4% of people outwitted me. I was bested. They gave me a joke answer, and it was way better than mine. Oh well. And then, even worse than that, 25.2% reminded me that I'm not particularly funny. Well, at least 15.4% of people were laughing at that. And hey, I gave more than half people here a chance for a witty comeback. Made me laugh. That was nice. And of that 15.4%, that's 22 people. That's something. All right. The next question is probably the most divisive of all of the questions. I think 137 people participated, if not less. And it was about shipping. I included a lot of ships because, of course, although not all people participate in shipping, those who do, I find, take it not seriously, but put a lot of feeling into it. Therefore, I tried to include as many ships as I possibly could, and the reason I did so many is so that there would be as much representation as possible. Once again, since this is the first survey, I wanted to touch as many different tabs as possible. For future surveys, only the most popular will continue to be present here, and ships that are requested to be present. Let's see. Only answers that have 7 or 8 or more will be here, or the very, very, very popular ships. All right. Number 1, 32 people said, stop shipping. Shipping is weird. If only, if only. 65% of people said, what about friendships? 38 people. These aren't percentages, since that doesn't really work with this question. For Reagan ships, most popular ship for Reagan is Reagan with himself, just living his life. 28% of people, Reagan with Serizawa, second most popular husbando, that makes sense. Third most popular technically. 25 people put Reagan as Dimple. Then Reagan with everybody beneath that, because Reagan's such a lovely guy, makes his way onto all of the merchandise. He could probably live a happy life with just about anybody. And lastly, Reagan and Mob. No judgment. In fact, I think that I'm going to give myself a bit of a monotone for the rest, just so that nobody feels like they're being judged. Mob and Taruki, 37. Mob and Tsubomi, 26. Mob and Takenaka, 15. Mob and Misato, 12. Mob and Tomori, also 12. Mob and Dimple, 10. Musashi and Life in the Countryside, 9. Tomei and An-Eun, 14. Tomei and Misato, 9. Misato and herself, along with her career, 10 people. I messed up here. I put Taruki and Mob in twice. It's one of the most popular ships anyway, but particularly since it got 25 people here and previously, it got 37. It's the most popular ship for Mob. It's pretty clear. Sorry about that. So at most it got 30, 40, 50, 62. At most it got 62 votes, and it at least has 37 people who support it. Anyway, Taruki and Ritsu, 8 people. Taruki and himself, 13 people. Ritsu and Sho, 25 people. My personal ship. Mitsura and his customized wardrobe, 9 people. Tsubomi and herself, 11 people. Do you think you missed one? This was the 101st option, therefore it's particularly important. 11 people wanted to make sure that I didn't miss a ship. Wood and Getting Excited and Growing each got 9 people who support that ship. Those ships. Sarazawa and A Random Guy Who Likes Clouds got 8 people who support that ship. And 21 people called me a jerk because I missed their ship. I apologize. Because I missed your ship, please just let me know what it was, and I'll be sure to include it in the next survey. I know that I myself came up with a ship after the fact that a couple ships after the fact that I wanted to include. Next question. I thought that this would just be a nice morale booster for one, because I know that he's made comments about his handsomeness in the past. Anyway, rating how handsome you think one is from 1 to 10. Only 5.1% people rated him less than a 5. 17.9% people gave him a nice healthy 5. 11.9%, 6. 12.7 gave him a 7. 8.2 gave him an 8. 3.7% gave him a 9. And then the majority, we can't be sure whether or not they are just being brown nosers, but considering that everyone else is in the positive range, I personally think that he's a cutie myself. Let's see, say that 40.3%, 54 people say that one is worthy of a 10. Alright then, the last question, last answer, the last question before this question, the previous question I should say. The 134 responses. This question coming up has 137 responses. Is about your affiliation with cults. Alright then, 4.4% people are reminding me to not joke about religion, to which I respond, I'm not joking about religion, I'm just making fun of cults, and all cults are really unhealthy, and I wish you the very best of luck if there's a cult in your life that may be bringing you down. Maybe reconsider that. Anyway, 42 people, 30.7% said that they are part of the Lord Psycho Helmet cult. Not really, of course, but only makes sense if you're here, and that is what we call our Reddit after all. 21.2% of people said that they are part of the meme cult, or that their cult is not listed. Once again, please let me know. It will be included in the next survey. 6.6% said that they are part of the LOL cult, another Mob Psycho 100 reference. And then 2.2% of people, this was tied, three-way tie between 2.2 between the cult of my significant other, love you, sweetie, the cult of incomprehensible gibberish, pronounced, and the cult of happyism. It's an Earthbound reference. I've never actually played Earthbound or Mother 2. Although I am interested in trying the fan translation of Earthbound 2/Mother 3. Alright, I'm going to open up a new tab to see what is the question I forgot about.